Ritual Beasts have one of the worst matchups into Thunder Dragons. It is K-pause. I just forgot what I was gonna say. I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here coming at you with this week's Power Rankings. It's the biggest win ever in Power Ranking history. And Kamel says, I like big things. I want to be there for big things. And I'm like, of course, man. Of course. How you doing?
I am doing great, and there's some new oppressors on the block and duel world.
It's absolutely ridiculous, but let's get right into it. So if you're new to the Power Rankings and you're wondering what we're doing here, each week we track decks as they compete in tournaments and we see how they finish. And based on how they finish, we give them points and then we rank them according to those points. All right. So if a deck gets a first place finish, they'll get 6 points. A second place finish is 4 points. A top 4 is 2 points, and a top 8 is a single point. All right. So the tournaments that we track, they have to have a consistent format so that way we can compare and contrast the results. So those tournaments have to have rounds of Swiss into a top cut. They have to have a single deck format, but you can have a 7-card side and you can side in a skill. All right. So the tournaments that met that criteria this week were the Battle Phase Series, the Meta Series, and the Giraffe Dual World Invitational. And actually the name of it's like 9 actual words longer than what I have on the screen, but congratulations to them on their second one, I believe. So
yeah, and as always, if you want to get into the free Battle Phase tournaments guaranteed, you can sub on Twitch or become a channel member on YouTube. Either one of those will get you guaranteed access to all Battle Phase events.
And you see Battle Phase Vikings up there. That is, we had a sponsorship from Vikings. What is it? War of the Worlds. What was it?
Vikings War of Clans.
Oh, okay. There's War of Clans. Thank you. They did a great job sponsoring us, and we held a tournament in their honor. So that's what that is. So if you see Battle Phase Vikings, or the abbreviation would be BPV, which is a little weird for the Power Rankings, but that's what that is. So let's get right into this, though.
Yeah,
are you guys ready? I know the thumbnail has already given it away, but let me just throw up. Okay, there's 18 decks that hit the top 8 this week. That's not too bad. There's the scores. Oh, shit.
Oof. Oh, my God.
Noble Knights with 63 points.
And let me just say that this is by far the most dominant week in Duel Links tournament history. Because back then, there were not 9 tournaments in a week. So I can comfortably say this is the most dominant week in all of competitive Duel Links. Noble Knights with 63 points is unheard of. The previous record holder, I believe, was either Heroes or Invoke Neos with 48. 48 with Invoke Neos, I believe, was the record.
I almost want to go through because I was going to say Shiranui was up there, but I don't think it ever got this high. Shiranui was consistently in the top 3 for a very long time.
I think Invoke Neos' first week was astronomically high, and that held the previous record.
Okay.
But Noble Knights at 63, ridiculous.
Unheard of. Absolutely unheard of.
The next deck, 19 points. We told you last week
44-point difference.
We told you last week how the Noble Knight versus Desperado matchup came into play at the end of the week. Now you see the full week of results and how Noble Knights dismantled a deck like Desperado. And look at some of these other decks on the list, not even coming close.
No.
8 points. Desperado 19, Goki 15, Thunder Dragons 12. They were just picking up whatever they could get at this point because they didn't win anything.
I mean, basically everything from Witchcrafters down, that's basically they got like a top 4 or a top 8, a single top 4 or a single top 8. So yeah, it was pretty brutal for everybody else this week. If you weren't playing Noble Knights, you weren't winning. We'll get into it, but they won 5 of the 9 tournaments this week. So let's take a look at that.
See them numbers. See them numbers, and bam!
Look at all those wins. I had to change the font size to fit that all in there because otherwise it was like just sticking out all over the place.
5 tournament wins, 4 runner-ups. What is that? That's 5 top 4s, 6 top 4s, and 5 top 8s. That is absolutely insane. Coming together, 63 points, 255 people played the deck this week. That is almost double the previous record holder, which was probably Shiranui before. but oh my gosh, that is ridiculous. You can see the top 32 conversion rate, 30%. That is also unheard of.
Very
76
good.
Noble Knights players got to the top 32. And as always, when we have these big numbers, the top 8 conversion rate is going to be low, but 8%.
That's actually really good.
Is very good for
Yeah.
255. We usually say 8% is good if your deck has 100 to 150 representation. Yeah. 250, 8%, that is insane. The deck is...
By comparison, though, Shiranui would be like 3-4%.
Yeah, 3-4% on Shiranui on a high representation week back in the day. Noble Knights, this is absolutely nuts. So why are Noble Knights doing so well? Well, in the new box, we did get King Noble Knight, King Kussinen. That's not his name, but let's go with that. And he basically
close enough.
He allows you to bounce cards on either player's turn, and you can use up to 3 materials for him. And he is so powerful. One of Noble Knights' key weaknesses was that their main form of removal was destruction, and that played right into the hands of a lot of decks like Desperado and Thunder Dragons, because they're fueled off of destruction because they float so easily. They get resources back and stuff like that. Now, Noble Knights can totally get rid of that, bounce your monsters, and go for a game. Not to mention balance. This is probably the most broken balanced deck
ever
in a long time, or ever.
I mean, Heroes. Yeah. Remember, Heroes was pretty broken. This is approaching that level.
Heroes was pretty broken with balance, and this deck is so safe with balance, and I think that is what makes it so broken. All of your traps are usable no matter what monster you get on the field in your opening hand. Some people call opening Gwynnifer a brick. Man, if you open any of those destruction traps, Gwynnifer is not a brick anymore. It's in your grave. It's setting you up for next turn. Until Noble Arms are needed once again. Such a powerful trap, and I think this is going to be the victim of a banless hit because of how busted it is, how much it helps Noble Knights survive turn to turn after they get hit with removal, letting you special summon a Noble Knight from the deck hasn't been played yet.
You were saying earlier that you thought this was like the best archetype trap. I almost say it's almost like the Subterror one. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like how broken that was.
Final Battle. Yeah, it is just about as broken as Subterror Final Battle, I would say. If not a little more, because allowing you to excavate and draw extra cards during your own turn or your opponent's turn is very good, right? It can unbrick you when your top deck is not good, and then on top of that, you can get any Noble Knight, especially since Noble Knight's biggest weakness is them not being able to come back from removal like Karma Cut. If your Noble Knight doesn't Karma Cut, you have the trap to follow up.
Well, also, what's broken is, like, let's say they take out your rank 5, and you have the trap in the grave. You summon out your Dristan, and then the equips that were on your 5 equip to Dristan. Then you're popping on their turn. It's like they're all excited, like, yeah, I'm gonna take out their rank 5, and it's like, oh, I just want, they just took out my monster. I didn't do anything.
You know what? I think, like, and part of the reason why I think that Noble Knights is catching on so well now is I kind of see it as baby's first combo deck. You know, the smart plays that you can do to help you gain an advantage are so obvious that you can't mess them up. I feel like, as opposed to a deck like, Witchcrafters or something like that, where, maybe you would have had to do a little more thinking, a little bit more playing around with your resources. Noble Knights, everything is there in front of you. You open Merlin, great. You'll be able to quick exease. You got the trap, great. You'll be able to do that pop and swap with Dristan. You're discarding any of your spells, great. You can re-equip them once you exease.
Right.
It's just great. Everything in the deck works so well together, and it works with balance beautifully. And that's why it's on top right now. And I personally don't see Noble Knights falling from grace even after Book of Moon comes out. Let's talk about Book of Moon.
Well, real quick, Rye was saying that, even like a bad Noble Knight player and bad Noble Knight plays are still better than a good Desperado player with good Desperado plays, because you can just stumble your way through the deck and still be making just power plays with this deck. That's how good it is, because it just extends. You take out Kussinen, he goes into the rank 5. You take out the rank 5, he can summon out one from the grave. You take that out, oh, I got the trap. How many times can you attack in one turn? Come on, Cyber Dragons, what do you got? You know?
Right. You brought out a very good point, and I'll get back to that when we go to Desperado.
Yeah.
But Book of Moon, let's talk about it. I think that the current list for Noble Knights is looking a bit tight for them to incorporate Book of Moon. Of course, they're going to have to do some testing, mess around, see if they want to change their spell lineup, add any more. But against Noble Knights, I think a lot of people are thinking that Book of Moon is going to be their saving grace. And I want to say right now that if you are not going into the selection box tomorrow with the idea of getting 3 Book of Moons, you will not have an advantage against Noble Knights in any way whatsoever. Book of Moon is a card that is very powerful, but against Noble Knights, you're going to need to see it at the beginning or as early into their strategy as you can to shut them down. A lot of the things in the Noble Knight deck that we just talked about, if you see disruption like Book of Moon too late into the game, it is simply not going to be enough. They're going to have other ways to summon powerful monsters and get their effects on the field, and one Book of Moon at that point in the game is not going to be able to stop them. So I do not think Book of Moon will be as big of a hit to Noble Knights as people think it is, because you're going to need 3 of them bad boys for them to make a difference. Maybe in tournaments now, these tournament crazy guys, they'll all have 3.
I was going to say, next week when we do this, we're going to see a lot of decks that have 3 Book of Moon, because these guys are pro players, and they look as like an investment. Because, yeah, let's say they spend $300 getting 3 Book of Moon, which I know is a lot, but all it takes is one meta week or MCS win, or a damage step win.
Yeah, they're going to be farming damage step with the 3 Book of Moons. Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
Or, just win a bunch of battle phases, win a bunch of... Well, I guess any times don't pay out, do they? They just give you tickets or something. But you can use the tickets to, play in the MCS or whatever. These guys look at it as like an investment, It's like they're gamblers. They're like, I can do it, man. $300, I can win that back, no problem. And then
I love those odds.
They're down at $1,500 by the end of the month.
Oh god, it's terrible. But that is Noble Knights. Their reign is going to be one that is long for sure. The only thing that is going to knock Noble Knights out is a ban list, or if they give us another obscenely broken Xyz archetype. Those are the only 2 things that are going to knock Noble
I
Knights
just
out.
can't wait, man. I can't wait. Xyz is so much fun. We had a lot of fun on the Saturday night stream. Xyz, it was fun. So
Shokan. All right, let's go.
All right, let's move on to a non-Xyz deck. So who even cares?
Yeah, who even cares?
Get this crap out of here. Desperado.
Desperado still picking up 2 tournament wins on the week, proving it's competent. However, this deck looks very different from what we've seen lately. March won Battle Things Vikings. March is a top player, one in Casey Cup.
Japanese player, right?
Yep, Japanese player. Yep. And
well, at least I paid him out in yen, so I hope he's a Japanese player. I was like, what do I do with this?
He is. So Desperado, and wow, the tournament turnout really crazy. Noble Knights and Desperado both with huge numbers. Usually when we see big numbers on the top deck, the rest of them suffer, but still 134 participation from Noble Knights. Of course, their conversion rate is down significantly from what last week. They're at 5% now.
That is what we were talking about with Noble Knight during the Noble Knight slide. This is what you usually see: 134 representation, 5% to the top 8.
Yes, this is so. Noble Knights is extremely good. Desperado had a mediocre, almost like lackluster week.
The thing is, 2 tournament victories.
That's still extremely good.
In a 5% conversion rate to the top 8. If this wasn't Noble Knights destroying everybody, we'd say Desperado had a good week. I mean, 2 tournament victories and 5% to the top 8 isn't bad for 134 representation. That's a solid performance. They just didn't get other top 8 finishes.
So what I'm starting to see as the problem for Desperado is that I feel like there are 2 different semi-conflicting engines within the deck. There is the machine engine with Machina Fortress, Machina Gear Frame, and Desperado is a part of that by just its type. And then there's the coin flip engine. There's Desperado, Misjudge, and whatever coin flips you're going to play. If you're going to play Kyrule, I think that's how you pronounce it, or the Sasuke Samurai that you see here that March is playing. Something that this deck struggles with that Noble Knights doesn't is consistency, right? Desperado does not have a built-in way to guarantee its opening hand is going to open the specific engine that you want to see.
Right.
Noble Knights, you are going to get all of your tools in your starting hand. And I think that is one of the main reasons why it is doing better than Desperado. Desperado didn't get worse, but Noble Knights got so many more tools that make them good against Desperado. The Super Team Buddy Force engine in Noble Knights, in Desperado, of course, has also been seeing a lot of hate in the side deck. People playing cards like Zombie World, ensuring that they can shut down stuff like that, and just remove that card from the game completely, because that is a card that allows Desperado to float like Noble Knights do.
Well, I think like Desperado's like that running back or quarterback in high school that seems really good because he got 4 touchdowns in one game. And then he goes to college and there's Noble Knights playing quarterback or running back or whatever. And it's like, oh, I guess I'm not as good as that anymore, am I? It's just like a totally different, it's a totally different league now. Totally different league.
And another thing, head judging has probably emerged lately as one of the most annoying cards in the game. I think lately it has been doing a lot of work for Desperado. Most decks just play into it if Desperado tends to open it, and it's straight up a 50-50, man. It
says right at the bottom of the text, your opponent will always call this card wrong. I don't think I've ever called it right. I've played against it how many times? Out of 50 times, I think like twice I've gotten it. It's like, really?
Yeah, so my advice to you playing against Desperado is to hold your Cosmics.
Yes, wait.
For head judging.
Wait till you see that thing.
Head judging is a continuous trap, and it can be activated multiple times. So you definitely don't want to blind Cosmic and hit a Super Team Buddy Force.
But did you leave you leave the Super Team Buddy Force, or you leave a Karma Cut waiting for you,
It's definitely rough, and we're seeing it now where the top 2 decks, you do need to heavily side deck against them if you're playing a deck that is not one of these two. And that's why decks that are not these two didn't win a lot of tournaments. 7 tournament wins between Noble Knights and Desperado this week. That only leaves 2 for the other decks.
Great segue, because the next deck on the list won the Meta Weekly, and that's Goki.
Yeah, Goki making waves this week in the Meta Weekly for claiming first and second place in the tournament. And this is one of the emergence that people were talking a lot about at the beginning of the week, saying, well, why is Goki doing so good? Noble Knights were at full power this week. How did Goki do so good? And then people got to say their favorite words, their favorite sentence. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is?
Does it start with an N?
Necro Valley carries Gokis.
Yes.
And you know what, hey, guys? Shut up! We know already. All right? Goki's here. They're doing what they got to do. Necro Valley is a tool that they're using to do very good. The other decks are doing the same thing. Desperado's making use of Super Team Buddy Force to up their consistency so that they can survive against these decks with a ton of removal. And Noble Knights is playing a bunch of removal and balance so they can open all their stuff. Necro Valley is just another advantage that a deck like this has to take advantage of if it wants to survive in matchups against those very powerful and versatile decks.
Well, think about this. Look at that. They got those 2 Econ in there. You can rip those right out of there. A 1 of Cosmic Cyclone. What's a 1 of? Get rid of it. Plenty of room for Book of Moon here.
Plenty of room for Book of Moon. This is true. However, Enemy Controller is a card that synergizes extremely well with Gokis. And I was thinking, are they going to want to remove it for Book of Moon?
I bet someone's going to try it. They'll try it. I bet that Cosmic's out of there. Maybe 2 Book of Moon, 1 Econ or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's strange. This list does look very balanced, and I'm starting to wonder where you would put a Book of Moon in this list, because the 1 of Cosmic is very useful in some scenarios. I can only imagine. But congrats to Chuchu for winning this week.
But a Book of Moon is a Book of Moon.
This deck is really tight. It's not like Noble Knights where, you're playing 30 cards, so you can get really funky with your ratios. I feel like you really had to keep it kind of tight, because the balance ratio from 20 to 22 cards down to the single card, it matters. What you have, like 6 spells, 6 traps, it does matter. So you have to be very careful. Your opening hand may be skewed. But I'm interested to see how people incorporate Book of Moon into this deck. I think it can utilize it very well. This deck specifically not running a ton of flips, only 2 Floodgate, making use of the tributing factor in Goki a lot. And now that I'm looking at it, enemy controller may be able to be sided out for Book of Moon if they run 3 Ballista Squad. So, but it was probably going to make it into the deck on second thought.
I think you have to. I think you have to play in a tournament. Definitely, I would take out the Cosmic, the 2 Econs, and just see what happens. I mean, it's just a couple tournaments, you know. That's why we have the battle phases, so you can practice for the big ones, right? So you can go into the damage steps, you can go into the meta, the MCS, and figure that stuff out. So I think we're going to see a lot of experimenting with Book of Moon, especially in this deck.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the decks that it fits into the best by far. Let me clarify that. This is the deck that Book of Moon will fit into the best. Any other deck, I think that it just doesn't synergize with the other stuff in there as much, but it'll still do.
But it's still going to be in there. It's still going to be in there.
It's going to be great.
I think it's just one of those cards where people are like, we got to try it. We got to get it in there.
Yeah, Goki's doing good. 16% conversion rate on the week. Not bad.
Yeah. The next deck, I don't think has room for Book of Moon because I don't think it even plays spells and traps, does it? Let's take a look. Thunder Dragons. Well, if you're not playing Charge of the Light Brigade or the Jack Black card, what is that? Melody of the Waking Dragons or whatever?
Yeah. I actually really do this list because it's a Lightsworn list. But Thunder Dragons have been doing one of two things. This is one of them, Lightsworns. I don't like it. But they've also been playing Gold Sarcophagus now that it's on the limited list away from Thunder Dragons. And Thunder Dragons are in a type of weird spot right now. They have to pick whether they want to commit to Synchros or if they want to embrace Xyz. And I think the best Thunder Dragon decks are doing both. Because you definitely, there are some powerful Synchro monsters like Psy Framelord Zeta, which can totally catch your opponent off guard.
No one expects that card ever.
If they summon into their boss monster, no deck has a quick effect no deck in the meta, I should say, has a quick effect that can get around that right now. So it's extremely powerful. But Hayes goes mad using more of an Xyz focused deck here.
I was about to say this is a very eclectic extra deck, isn't it?
Yeah, this is more of what we've seen lately. People using Ptolemy M7, Gaia, Force Focus, and Ardreas. And of course, you can see the rank 8 number monster. I forget what he's called. Number 68. And yeah, I just think the deck is doing very well now because of how disposable each card in your deck is, right? No Thunder Dragons before, they depended on Levianeer so much. In Battle Phase Rising Sun, top 4 list, I watched his Levianeer get Phoenix Chain 3 times, and each and every time, he tributed over his Levianeer for a vanilla Thunder Dragon. So you can't see it in this list, but vanilla Thunder Dragon is back, and it is massive.
Oh, like one that you can discard and draw other ones from the deck? That one?
Yeah. That card is massive because it synergizes very well with Melody of Awakening Dragon. You get your Levianeers. It's a level 5 monster, so if you run tuners beside it, you can go into any synchro after that. And the deck runs level duplication, as you can see, to make the rank 8 number 68. Or some people opt for Heliopolis. This guy's free to play, or not free to play, but he's probably didn't pull Heliopolis.
That's hilarious because that deck or that card is from like the beginning of Duel Links.
Yeah,
Remember, was it the dual Thunder-headed Dragon Fusion or whatever it was?
Yeah, Twin-headed Thunder Dragon.
Yeah, that's it. That thing, yeah, man, that was an OP card back in the day. I remember that being in like early, not Hammer Shark decks, but like water decks because you could use that in conjunction with Umi because it was like a thunder monster. Remember? And it got boosted by Umi, and yeah, it was crazy. That's funny that that card is still around. That's great. Maybe he should put the fusion monster in his deck. I'm just saying.
So I would definitely check out Neg1's video that came out earlier this week. He went over the Meta Weekly and the meta as a whole, and he said that Noble Knights have a pretty good matchup against Thunder Dragons. But I just wanted to say that this week I saw Thunder Dragons outmaneuver Noble Knights significantly across the week in tournaments where they did match up. I'm sure that their paths didn't cross that much, even though Thunder Dragons does have a lot of representation. This week, 119.
Yeah, that's really good. It's steadily been going up. Gian is just getting people. He's got that secret Thunder Dragon Discord. They're getting all kinds of people in there. So good job, Gian.
Yeah. I would definitely watch Neg1's videos because he definitely goes in depth on each deck's performance on the week in the meta weekly. So I would look into that. But yeah, Thunder Dragons, 2 different builds. Other one playing like single uses of tuners like Plague Spreader, Glow Up Bulb, and Jet Synchron. I like that one better personally, but yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's Thunder Dragons.
Thunder Dragons and the Gaia, the XZs there, that's starting to see a lot of use.
Yeah, it's very versatile. Just it's a rank up XZs that is very powerful. I'm glad that decks are using
piercing. So that's even better. That's great. It's good to see. I guess it's anime related, right? The Gaia series of cards. Usually if you're on the ladder or something, someone plays like a Gaia, the Fierce Knight. You're like, oh, here's a win. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Playing a Gaia deck, he plays the Chaos Field spell. Oh, great, this is a win.
Easy peasy. All right. Talking about secret discords, going from the Thunder Dragon one to the Ritual Beast one, the secret Discord. They are excited because look at that Battle Phase Sunday victory.
Yeah, and it's been a rough couple weeks for Ritual Beast. They were one of the decks that were looking like they were going to come out on top in the new meta, but they faltered off pretty quickly because it just did not get anything new going for them. And
what do you do with this deck? This is the same deck we've been looking at for months now. I mean, there's nowhere to go with it right now. I know I just got kicked out of the secret Discord, which I actually did get invited into. Just saying. I'm just saying. They just kicked me out because I just said that. Where do you go with this deck? Where do you go with it? That's my question. As things keep getting better, it's the same extra deck. It's the same lineup of monsters. Maybe you can mess with the Forbidden Chalice or something. Maybe you put the Book of Moons in and see what happens. But is that going to be enough? Is that enough?
I think part of the reason why Ritual Beasts are doing considerably worse is they are getting a lot more bad matchups in the meta. Something that they have not had to worry about for a while is a card called Samurai Destroyer, and that is one of the best extra deck or tech cards against this deck. Of course, you know, when it swings in, monster effects that activate when it attacks or a battle with it, they're not activated. So Winda does not happen, and more decks are able to disrupt Ritual Beasts, stop them from getting 2 monsters on the field, stop them from getting their contact fuse going, and stop their safety net, which is Winda, from popping off and keeping them in the game. If Ritual Beasts do not start off very well, it is very easy to manipulate your board to figure out, all right, he doesn't have a good play, he's only got Winda, I'm just not going to give him what he needs.
Right.
That's it.
And this deck, I was just looking at, I mean, they can summon out like similar level monsters, when they go into the fusion, then they break it down, they bring out like 2 level 4s. There's just no XZs that would benefit this deck, right? I mean, their whole strategy, you have to be doing the fusions. There's no way to like bring something new in. Yeah.
I feel like it is pretty tight, and even though they send them back to the deck or whatever, I don't even think XZs have a place in this deck because you're never going to want to XZ summon over getting one of these guys out to recycle your monsters.
Right, and there isn't a rank 4 that's that beneficial. There's not even one that would be that good. Right. Yeah.
Once you XZ summon, your guys are overlay units. They can't be reused, and then they go to the graveyard. And the only way you're going to get stuff out of the graveyard is if you use Ritual, the Ambush, or the Return,
or the Laura, right, Laura.
Yeah. Laura. Yep, she does that too. But yeah, Ritual Beast just got it pretty rough right now.
They need to modernize. It's like you go into an old house that was built in the 70s. They got the old microwave and the wood paneling. It's like, man, you got to update. Rough, you got to get those granite countertops. Come on, Ritual Beast, you got to upgrade.
They're a contact fusion deck, man. They're not meant to be good right now. So
they got the shag carpet still. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Everybody's got wood floors nowadays. Ritual Beast was like, no, I like shag. I like shag carpet.
I like shag.
It's time to update, man.
Oh gosh.
I don't think they can though. That's the only problem.
Yeah, the deck is just too reliant on you only doing Ritual Beast stuff.
Yeah,
and it's really hard for you to account for the weaknesses of Ritual Beast, where you have to play a deck that is completely comprised of Ritual Beast cards, along with an extra deck that's completely comprised of those cards. So,
to be fair though, this deck has been out for a long time. It only really has been under one nerf. The Elder. And it's still won a tournament. So how can you really complain? I mean, they got a top 4 and 3 top 8s in competitive tournaments. One was in the Meta Weekly. 2 of them are in the Meta Weekly. So there you go.
Yep.
The rest Battle Phase events. So, I mean, it's been out a year or more, right? And it's still doing well.
It's still
So
kicking in the right player's hands. It is still
yeah.
it's still kicking ass.
So I guess you really can't complain. I mean, it's still number 5 on the power rankings.
Mm.
So all right, let's do the at a glance stuff real quick here. Overall representation, Noble Knights just
Oh my
almost
goodness.
double second place. Almost double. Look at that.
That's a record. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, and then look at Dark Magician down there. Stick and chair, baby. Stick and chair. That's what it's all about right now. Yikes. They're making a comeback. Luna Light's in there too. Can you believe that? Luna Lights.
Yeah, coming in at the bottom. We've seen a lot of those decks here and there. People getting creative. They don't want to play Noble Knights.
Yeah, Teller Knight's going up too.
Teller Knights. We'll talk about those in the Rogue Deck discussion.
Yeah, there won't be a Rogue Deck roundup this week. Conversion rates. You guys remember the rule in case you don't. You have to be represented at least 20 times during the week, just so that sometimes you get like a Rogue Deck that comes in, 5 people play it, 4 make it to the top 8, and it looks like it has like a 95% conversion rate. So we just have, it's got to be played at least 20 times, so we get some kind of decent number out of it. So all these decks played at least 20 times over the past week.
All right.
And then top 8 finishes, as you would think, Noble Knights with 20. The rest almost triple. Second place with Thunder Dragons. Jesus.
Yeah, that is that is just ridiculous. That is representation.
That's gross.
That is representation with a good deck at its finest, man. Like,
yeah,
people play the deck carries the people who don't do so great, and the people who are good with the deck just absolutely dominate.
Yep.
And yeah, well, what a week. What a week.
I don't even have to go to the next slide, but we will, just because most victories, Noble Knights with 5, Desperado with 2, Goki and Ritual Beast rounded out.
That is rough. Noble Knights. And I think we're headed that way to a Noble Knights Soul Tier 1 deck format, man. I think that they're just gonna beat
power level.
Power level 1. Power level 1. No, I don't think we should do that. Power level 1 sucks. The power level has to be higher.
Right. Power level 1000.
Power level 1000. You know the Jeb Bush meme when he's going like this over the map of the United States?
Right.
It'll be that. It'll be great.
Yeah, we got to come up with like a power level system, like the DEF CON system. We're at DEF CON 5. We're at power level 5.
Let us know what it should be. What should the power scaling for the power ratings be, guys, in the comments. But yeah, thank you all for coming out today for the power rankings. This was definitely the start of the Tier 0 Noble Knights meta. We'll be eating hats next week if it doesn't
that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can't see that happening, but yeah, but anything else, Circus?
No, I think that's it. You guys know what to do. Get in the Discord, because that's where we host all the tournaments. There's great new player help. Kamel does Battle Phase of the Rising Sun on Thursday mornings. I do the new player stream on Saturday nights. That was a lot of fun this past week. We did Digibugs again, or Digital Bugs again, and we had a lot of fun. Kamel was there, being an animal, like always. So,
oh, one more thing. Of course, this week we have a sponsor campaign going on with Raid Shadow Legends. They've sponsored us once again. So this time, if you already downloaded the game as part of our last sponsorship, or if you didn't, all you have to do is get to level 10 in Raid Shadow Legends, and you get your choice of a Twitch sub to the channel so that you can get guaranteed entry into all tournaments, or a damage step ticket. And I know some people said that for whatever reason they don't like using Twitch. I don't know why, bro. But if you want a YouTube membership, we'll give you that too, because that is what's going to allow you to enter the tournaments, and that is the main benefit. If you participate in the campaign and get to level 10, you are getting guaranteed entry to all Battle Phase tournaments for 1 month, or a damage step entry ticket, which is usually $5. So both of them are of equal value, just letting you guys know. And all the links for that will be in the description and in the Discord.
And it's super important. It has to be on PC. Can't be on mobile.
Has to be PC only.
And you have to download using our link. You can't just download the game. You have to use our link so that it connects to us. So it's a great way to help us out, because we got a lot of bills to pay, and Circus wants to retire early. All right, so get in there and help us out with that.
Yeah, we need new hats. We ate them all already.
Yeah, we ate them all. All right, we're gonna
see you guys Rogue Decks tomorrow. Peace out.
That's right. See ya.